Looks like it's trying to load. There we go. Come on, come on. Oh, perfect. All right. Kumbawa. Now it's afternoon, mean the sun, and I just realized how much of these videos are draining my battery. Or it could be my warmer light that I've never used before. This is Morgan, and we are going to review my personal experience with Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee, 2023. Now, some of these things, again, they're all my opinion, but some of these things, obviously, like everybody didn't experience. And some of these things are not about the Expo, but Knoxville themselves. So just kind of sit back and listen, and we'll discuss some fun things. Okay. So Fanboy Expo is the biggest convention I go to every year. It was introduced to me by my friends Lonnie and Jess. We went in 2019, and then COVID happened. And then we went in 21, 22, and this year, so this is my 4th year. I thought it was my 5th, but I got confused. I forgot. They kept trying to do 2020, but usually I'm with Alicia all 4 years, and this is my 2nd year with Sarah. So Alicia, Sarah, and I rode up Thursday, and our friends Sam, Drew, and Sam's grandma were there for a week in the Tennessee area, and we met up with them a few times, like during the con and once for dinner. So that was fun. It's a drive from where we're at. It's a little over 7 hours. And then, you got to do potty break, especially me because I have a weak bladder. And the Nashville traffic is because it's just insane. Like everybody talked to, like, oh, that Nashville traffic. And then once we get into Knoxville, going up there every year, it's pretty, like the last 15 miles is kind of crazy every year. So yeah, we drove up. Oh gosh, we left at like 7:15 in the morning, and there is a time change. The time change was we went a little more around the outskirts coming up this time on accident. The time change didn't hit us till quite a bit later. Usually it's around the hour and a half, hour 45 mark until we get there. This time it was like less than an hour mark. So we still got there, obviously. But yeah, it was a little stressful. Sarah did a great job driving. So thank you, Sarah. You did excellent as usual. So we went to the Marriott this year, which is right across the street from the convention center. Because last year, even though we were close with parking, it was horrible and it was hot and we still had to walk and it was just kind of insane. So Marriott was very fancy. I felt like a Princess and the Pauper type of thing. But everybody was super nice. And we did have to pay $30 a day for valet parking, which I didn't know much about valet. Sarah explained it to me. And that was actually really nice. Because unless we went to dinner or we're going shopping and going to be out for a little bit, we walked across the street to the con. If we needed the rest, we could just walk straight to the hotel. And that was really fantastic. Because I did that a couple times because my feet were hurting. Sarah did that a couple times to rest. So yeah, that was awesome. So Marriott, great accommodations, beautiful hotel. We had king size beds. I shared one with Sarah. And even when I was all stretched out and she had room too, I still didn't touch her because I'm used to staying pretty compact in my spot because Derek and I have a double, which fits both of us just fine. But I've just learned to, be respectful of his space. So it's kind of nice to, and they were soft, nice. It was a very nice bed. So yeah, so we got a decent deal considering, and they had a nice mini fridge and a very nice shower. Like that's hard to find in a hotel. But yeah, and it was gorgeous and everybody was just super nice. I got to use the office on Friday because I made some poems for special guests and I got to print them out, and they were worried like they said we don't charge unless you need color. We'll have to do it up here. I said no, I don't need color. They said oh no, and then just print as much as you want. So that's cool. And automatic revolving doors, which I was scared of at first because I remember 90s malls and how you get stuck in those, but they weren't automatic. So I only had one time this guy was trying to get behind us and he thumped real hard and missed and like bumped into my back. That was kind of weird. But yeah, Marriott across the street from the convention was great. And we were right by the Sun Sphere, which is like one of my favorite landmarks. It's like the kind of landmark in Knoxville. My friends are like, you're like obsessed with this thing. And I'm like, it's my favorite sun because the other sun, although it's needed for life, hurts me because of my lupus. And it is a beautiful structure. And it is kind of the symbol of Knoxville. It's kind of like the Arch in St. Louis. You can see it from multiple spots in the city where you're driving. So we got there Thursday, and we got our badges right before they were closing up for getting them. But they did forget one of Sarah's packages, but she got them early Friday, so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, it was super quick. I had a lot of trouble getting my QR code I needed for my ticket, which every year they don't send me an email, or the few times I found it's been in my junk mail. So I don't know if Knoxville can find another ticketing system that works better, or talk to the ticketing system, because it's happened to me every year, and it happened to Alicia this year. She had to actually log on to, I don't remember, Capture is the name of the place, the website, and like log in and make an account and find it. And I was like, I never made an account, but I magically made an account, and there was my ticket for Fanboy, because I couldn't find it in my emails. And sure enough, to reset my password that I didn't have, it went straight to my junk mail. And I'm like, what the heck? So I don't know. I always have trouble with that. The photo passes were kind of like that too, which is another reason I didn't want to mess with it this year. But they had a lot of big names, so I understand why the girls did. They had limited spots. So after that, we went to Escape Games, I believe, which is the escape rooms in Knoxville. We did a fairy tale escape room, which was the level 6 out of 10 difficulty. It was the easiest one, but it was lots of fun. Rumpelstiltskin stole the magic, and fairy godmother used the last of her magic to transport us there. And we had to find a way to break Rumpel's spell and find the spell to get us out of the room. So Alicia kept laughing all weekend, because she's kind of good at listening for the tumblers when you do the turn locks with the codes, the numbers, and the letters and all that jazz that I'm not good at. I was too busy, because he said, black light would be helpful in here. So I was too busy looking in potted plants and shelvings and stuff to find a black light. And Alicia did undo one of the tumblers at the beginning with the sound, and he did buzz and ask if she figured that out already. And she said no. And he's like, I would recommend putting that back, because you're going to get really confused. Because it was like the 5th clue or something, because there was 7 things to unlock in that first room. There was a secret room, which was Rumpel's house. So we had 30 seconds to spare, but we solved it. And I'm not a good critical thinker. I'm not going to lie. I'm a creative. But I helped out a little bit. I found page numbers in a book, which was a key to something. I helped a little bit with color coding. I found the magic potion. I did figure candles had writing on them. So I contributed, but we had a lot of fun. We didn't get on the leaderboard because we need more than 3 hints, but the guy was really cool. Beautiful setup. They've got 3 or 4 rooms, and they have a cat, which was fun. So I highly recommend doing an escape room in Knoxville if you like escape rooms. He told us to come back, and I'm like, yeah. And like I said, his lobby was really cool. The aesthetic, we totally dug it. So we did that, and by the time we were done, we were all pretty hungry. So we went to Stock and Barrel, which I've heard about for years. Okay, and they closed at 10. We got there a little bit after 9, and we were all just starving by that point, because we had a quick little Wendy's lunch at a random stop that had a Subway gas station and Wendy's combined. I just had some chicken nuggets. We had snackies in the car. I'm sorry, snacky snacks. But but yeah, so Stock and Barrel, I kept hearing from people for years that were volunteers who worked the con, and just local Knoxvillians, I guess, maybe, that it was the best burger place. And it was very good. It had the light colored bun. I don't know what that's called, but it's not usually my favorite, but it was good. The burger really wasn't overly greasy. I just had a classic bacon burger. I had a little pot and actually a little skillet of mac and cheese, which for $4, it was amazing. I had some aioli. I got onion rings because I didn't want fries. Sarah did let me try one of her fries. It was good. I was just not feeling either of that, but I did finish my burger. And I did finish my mac and cheese. And then I got a peanut butter pie slice, which was good. Not as good as my friend Julie's, but it was very good. And I ate it Saturday. We put it in the fridge. So we left a little bit after 10 because they let us, since we were already there. They just locked the door, so we couldn't get back in. And then we crashed and went home to the home. I kept saying home, to the hotel. Again, the Marriott, which was very nice being across the street. So that was Thursday. Convention opened at 11. We were there at 10:35, 10:40. Because we got VIP, we were allowed at 10:30. So what we did is we went, I thought it opened at 8 or 7 like it did last year, but now they're open at 9. And we went to the French market to have our crepes like we do every year. And I had my ham and Swiss croissant breakfast sandwich, which it was okay. It wasn't as good as it normally is. And then I had a simple this year. I usually do like Oreo or s'more for my dessert one, but now I just did strawberries and cream, which actually was $2 more. When we're like, that's kind of weird. I guess because of the strawberries. But it was also very good. And I finished almost everything. I had their matcha green tea latte, which was very good also. It was sweet. And I was going to get lavender tea because I got on a kick on that going to Jeff City a couple weeks ago. But we were one of the first ones in line. And then by the time, we ate pretty quick, like in 20, 25 minutes. But the line was just massive. I was getting macarons to take home. But again, I didn't want to make them wait. So I'll have to make sure I get lavender tea and macarons. Just pre-order it, and then I can sip on it later. Then we explored the mall because we had hot cash and lunch money from Box Lunch, or I did, and I had some coupons to share. Mall was great, and I mentioned in my other video, my July Hot Topic and Box Lunch video, a little bit about this mall, so you can check that out there. But yeah, everybody was super nice there. Found some great stuff. They have a milkshake place where they have like the cake and the fancy designs that you see on Instagram and on the medias. So that's on there. We didn't know about it because it just opened, so we'll have to try that sometime. But the only issue we had, and I thought it was funny, it's that it took more time than it should have, is okay. So I know people at the kiosks, especially like perfume sprayers or people who are trying to get you a new phone plan, the ones that they have to actually like show off or explain their product. They're just doing their job, just like telemarketers have to do their jobs. We don't like it if we're on the other end, but it happens. So I try to be respectful. But there was this really cute boy, like he was adorable. He wasn't a boy, but he was a young man. And he definitely was foreign. I'm not sure where he was from, but he even apologized for his accent. And he was like, just like, oh, you're my first customers today. I won't make fun of his accent or anything because I don't know if I did it right anyway. But he was like putting lotion on us and like scrubbing. And he was like a fast talker and putting stuff in a bag. Goes, you like? Yes. And we're just kind of like, yeah, like it felt good. But, you see the prices of these things are hundreds of dollars. And, he's like, oh, well, since you're, they give you all these deals and that make it astronomically cheap, but still overpriced if you think about it. And I'm just kind of like, okay. And he's like, and they would say, well, if you leave, I can't guarantee I can give it to you again. And I got it. He was doing it for his job. But he wasn't afraid to he wasn't being inappropriate with touching. But, he did, his rubbing, the stuff that gets the dead skin off his hands. And it showed results, but it was just funny. And we finally thanked him very much and declined. We offered to take a card because, again, he's doing his job. But my favorite thing he said was, okay, so which one do you want? Do you want the face one? Do you want the hand one? Or do you want me? And I thought it was cute. And the other girls just laughed. And I was like, oh, if you can get in the bag, I'm taking you home. So I thought it was clever. Again, I guess because I sell my books, I'm like, sometimes you gotta have that little fun energy. So I appreciated that. I kid you not, though. We walk like 30 steps, and Box Lunch is right there in the diagonal. And then this other lady, very pretty, very nice, also has a thick accent. She has like this wand thing that's a curler / straightener, and she was doing the same thing. Like this product on the sticker, guys, was like $375, probably with tax, and then she's trying to include a free case. And she talked to her boss, which again, I was there the whole time. She didn't talk to anybody. She had a calculator, unless her boss is in her calculator. She got it down to $89, which again is not bad. But I'm just like, oh my goodness. And she was a little more persistent. Again, sweet. She was asking us questions. Like I had my VIP ticket. She was asking us about the con. While she styled Sarah's hair. She styled my hair. Not gonna lie, it was pretty cute. But she promised me that it would stay. She only did like my side curls. She did curls because my hair doesn't keep curls. I wish it did. But she said it would stay until my shower that night, and it didn't last 2 hours. And I was even trying to take care of it just to see. Now, does that mean the product's bad? No. Does that mean these people are, terrible? No. Again, they're just doing their job. It sucked up a lot of time. We were timing our mall trip perfectly so we could get back to be there in line for 10:30 for VIP opening. So you're just a couple minutes late, but it still was kind of like, okay. Like, I love your gung-ho energy, and I'm in a really good mood today, but I could see where this would probably bother a lot of people, and I just don't have the heart to say no. The buying things, yes, but, yeah. So I could tell that Alicia's get a little annoyed, but I understand. So I thought it was funny. Okay, so then we went to the convention, and holy guacamole. Holy guacamole. So the big showstoppers this year, the fandom, was the Lord of the Rings. They had 8 characters, I believe, from Lord of the Rings. And oh my gosh. So they usually put most of the actors and celebrities against the walls. And then there's a couple middle rows. Okay. Like by the concession area. And all the Lord of the Rings people were on the right. And like 2 of the really big, I think they're internet people. I know their things sold out online. On a Friday opening, they had red tape for VIPs, blue for general admissions. This is the first year since I was the only one that didn't have pre-ordered fancy packages. I was just, again, walking around mapping the place. I did that like 4 or 5 rounds on Friday. So I can remember where all of the non-Lord of the Rings people were, in case my friends were asking. Or there's people I wanted to meet. I could walk around like, oh, their line's short, so I'll just hop into their line. It's kind of like mapping. I've been watching Disney World videos, so I was kind of in that mindset. I was preparing for Disney World. And so, this is Fanboy. And it was insane. Like, you couldn't even walk over there. Like, there was vendors in that alleyway, and they were on the left side. And I know on the opposite end, where the celebrities were on the left and the vendors were on the right of the outskirts, as I called it, the lines were bleeding because of all the celebrity guests. And I know I was talking to some of them because they were the only, I didn't go inside the vendor room until a tiny bit Saturday, and the 1 hour we went Sunday morning before we left. And I know they were having they weren't getting a lot of business because, people are there for the celebrities and they're waiting in long lines, and they understood. But, I get it. I've learned in this business, location, even in something as simple as a vendor's hall, it's key. So that is frustrating. But my friends wanted to go ahead and get in the Lord of the Rings lines. And I think I did 2 laps. I met 2 actors and checked on Sam and Drew, who are in the middle for, Holly Mary Cones from Charmed. They had to wait like 3 hours in line for her, but they wanted to be the very first ones. But I checked on them, and we talked and took pictures for 10 minutes. And okay, again, twice around this outskirts, 10-minute conversation, and meeting 2 celebrities, and talking to volunteers a couple of times just for funsies, because, they're sitting there, and, hey, I appreciate you, because this is crazy. I still was back before my friends met their first Lord of the Rings person as VIPs. So on a start of a Friday morning. So that's got to tell you, convention people, how insane it was. Now, they said it was worth it, and I'm glad. I'm so glad. I'm glad that's their fandom. My VIP was even, it was the fire that goes around the one ring. So I forgot to bring it, but that's basically what it is. I might not forget my com badges past couple videos, but I think they met at least 3 or 4 that day for autographs, and they did get a free poster, a Lord of the Rings poster, in their package, which I don't think they've ever done that before, unless they got the big group one, maybe, because I know Drew, Sam, and Alicia all went on the big group of 8, and then Sarah did the free Hobbit. So maybe that's why, because I'm like, I never got a poster. But I've only done single interactions with the professional photos in the past, so maybe that's why. So yeah, it was insane. Gimli was there. Davies. They kept saying all these actors' names, and they had great interactions. And I'm so happy that, you know, you spend this money and time and anticipation and nerve to meet these people. And, you know, when they give you good energy, like I said, good energy is key. I don't know you. I might not know anything about what you're selling, but if you have good energy, I am going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. And, you know, if you're selling something, I might buy something, to be honest. But yeah, they said Gimli was so nice. Sarah's like, he kept saying, hello, love. And, you know, he'd put his arm around you. And he seemed very sweet. And I forgot he was the villain in Princess Diaries too. So I was like, oh, that's funny. Because everybody was talking about how cool he was in meeting him. And he also was in Indiana Jones, which is why I kept seeing so many Indiana Jones cosplays. Because I'm like, is it because the new movie just came out? But they're like, and then they said, no, he was in Indiana. I'm like, okay. My brain just didn't register it. But they met also all the hobbits of the 4, except for Frodo. So they were all there. I heard Samwise was really nice. And I mean, I heard they were all nice. One of them was staying in our hotel, and he was in the elevator at one point. He sounded either Irish or Scottish, which was great. And he had a tankard from the root beer stand and like a pack of gummy bears. And I was like, looks like you're going to party. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to party. And we told him about the VIP party. Sometimes some of the celebrities go, and he's like, oh, there's a party. Like, he had no idea. But he was very sweet, and he was adorable. So I was like, okay, I can see how you guys crush on him. Again, don't ask me actor names of Lord of the Rings. I don't know. But that was the highlight. And that line was insane most of Friday. It's the first several couple hours, because the middle lines and the left side, which some of the celebrities were late coming in on that side. Lord of the Rings people, I think, were there on time for the most part, which is awesome. Their volunteers were like, hey, do you know what's going on over there? So I was like giving them the update, because I told them, I'm doing my rounds. Like, seriously, I love talking to everybody at Fanboy. They are so sweet. And to give up your time for all that, you know, props to you. My only issue was, and this will come bigger into play later in the conversation, is lack of communication to the volunteers, especially ones that are at guest tables. And again, I'll talk about that in a second. So, but yeah, they were all excited. They talked all weekend. I felt kind of excluded, honestly, a little bit. I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But hey, I'm glad you're having fun. So that was Friday. I did take a break in the middle to write my 2 poems. I wrote one for Rob Paulson, who is a very famous American voice actor. He's Yakko in Animaniacs. He's Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. Oh, gosh. He's in Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid 2 and 3. I met the original Prince Eric too, E.D. Baker. So I've met all the movie Prince Erics, the cartoon movie. Yeah, that's how cool I am. There's a lot in there. I can't recollect at the top of my head. But his voice and his energy in interviews, just, he gives me so much. Pinky in the Brain, because the Brain was there too, and he was also an angel. I loved him. They were so cute together. It was so great meeting them. But I wrote him a poem, because especially I would have wrote one for Brain too, Maurice. I didn't realize all the roles he played. I didn't realize, like, he played my favorite character in Futurama, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I feel bad about that, but I gave him, I got hugs and stuff. So, and then Chris Sabat, who's going to be there Saturday and Sunday, but we're only going to see him on Saturday. So I wrote them poems, because I want money too. A lot of cons are frowning upon, or this one didn't seem as bad. I thought they would be with security, but giving gifts to guests. I guess it depends on the product and and everything. Because Chris got some gifts before me, so I guess maybe they didn't care as much here. I know St. Louis, they're pretty strict about that, which is fine. But I did that in the middle of the day. I took a little hour break. Friends was on. I ate because I just ate snacks because they didn't want to get out of line on Friday, and I said, hey, I respect that. So I ate like some chips and a beef stick and my peanut butter pie. Well, I watched Friends and colored my poems, like put designs on them across the street in the hotel. So yeah, again, like selfies are fine, and they were less. I can print them out for 10 cents at Walmart. And I'm going to make a collage and put it in my house. And I've got all their signatures on posters. So for me, that was the way to go. If I could, for group photos, I totally understand pre-ordering. But I mean, all but one guest that I had allowed selfies. So just something to consider for people who don't want to stress out about the packages and stuff and missing their time frame. And then we went to Melting Pot Fondue place again with Drew and Sam and her grandma this time. So a group of 6. It's like a 3-hour experience. So we all got really full by the time our meat came on. But it was lots of fun. It was very good. Our waiter was sweet. He needs a cat bill because he'd go between me and Alicia. I just see a black arm because he'd had a black shirt. I'm like, oh my God, he'd scare me. And the guy, he was the bartender that day. He was our waiter last year, Sassy, him and Julie bonded here. And he remembered us. And we said, hey, he has time to come over. Well, I guess he got busy, but he still made us a fancy plate with like chocolate sauce writing, and it said Fanboy. And we all took pictures with it. Had edible glitter on it, which I put a finger and tasted it, and it tastes like nothing. I was like kind of disappointed. Oh, glitter doesn't have a flavor. But that's okay. But that was good. But we were definitely tired. And I had leftovers of the dessert and the meat, which we cooked it, so I got to heat it up. I got pepper steak, and I do mine well done, so it took me a while. Herb chicken and pot stickers, which is they were kind of hot. I know the broccoli was super hot. It was overly peppered. Or we never really figured out exactly why it was so hot, but both Drew and Sarah said that. So we were like, oh, it's kind of sad. Yeah, it was good. It's a fun experience. Definitely a lot, like 3 hours, especially for a group like ours. Like last year we had 4, this year we had 6. And we took a group shot together on the stairs. Lady was nice and took it for us. So we got there at 6:45, and we left 9:20, 9:30, something like that. Definitely was tired that night. I was tired all those nights and did decent sleep, which is nice because sometimes at hotels that doesn't happen. Sometimes at home that doesn't happen. Okay, so that was the Melting Pot, which is also highly recommended place. So we had the French Market that morning, snacks for lunch, and then that. Okay, Saturday. Saturday was cray-cray. I'm going to be honest. And I'm not going to come on here and bash the convention, because I will say news travels fast. Not maybe in my platform, but I know I was having friends who've heard of Fanboy or just had been there before years ago, like the next day, and they'd heard from other people who've been to Fanboy or blah, blah, blah this year of stuff. And they were complaining, or just be like, oh, I'm glad I didn't go, or say something simple. And as a whole, I think Fanboy is absolutely divine. And we all make mistakes. It happens. We don't anticipate things. And I think that was the biggest issue. They even admitted to it. But since my friends were involved in part of the highly discussed issue, I'm trying to be very diplomatic about this because I never want to be negative, but I want to be honest. I do want to bring it up. So Saturday, my friend Sarah, she we wake up not feeling great sometimes. And we were, again, she's across the street. So she's like, hey, I'll come by in a little bit. I'm like, okay. So Alicia and I got there at like 10:40. The lines were already pretty long. But she went to the door close to the security check-in, and she flashed her VIP to one of the officers and says, hey, can we come in? And she said, yes, the officer did. So we were allowed in. There's already tons of people in there. In fact, premium weekend, which was new. It was like $90 or $100. It's a new tier they made right after the silvers sold out 2 months before the con. I got one of the last silvers, apparently. I found that out later, which I'm grateful for that. So they had selective line cutting privileges depending on the guest, probably the smaller guest, because I didn't see them with the bigger guest. Drew and Sam didn't get to with the bigger guest. But yeah, they're already in line before I was. So I was in the VIP, and Sam and Drew were for Chris Sabat on Saturday, and they were in the regulars, but we were like lined up together. So we talked together. It was perfect. That was really fun. But Chris he didn't get there till like 11. And this was, I said 10:30. I meant 9:30. Sorry, this was 9:30. Well, Sarah would start texting me around 10:20, and she was showing me where the line was at. And it was like down the street, the sidewalk. And this is a huge convention center. And I'm like, is there not a VIP line? Like I figured it might be long. And because I'm like, maybe these are people who need to buy their badge. Maybe they're just here for Saturday. And that's very common at conventions. Saturday is the most busy day, 90% of the time. And she's like, they won't let me cut, or they won't let me in a different line. And I was like, what do you mean? Because last year they had a long line too, and they did have a VIP line, but it was at a weird place. It was like you had to turn the corner, and it was there. And the signage wasn't. They do have good signage. They just didn't have a lot of it. And she's like, no. I asked, and they said no. And then she said she's seen other people, and they were turned away. And I'm just like, that's insane. I don't understand. So I know the back check-in, like that takes some time, but usually we have 2 stations. I think there was only maybe 1 station this year. Maybe that was part of the problem. Because I saw plenty of officers, but I think there was only 1 check-in station. Maybe that was it. I don't really recollect why. But so here's my thing. I was reading reports that some people said they waited like 6 hours just to get in, and some of them had photo ops. And since they weren't allowed in early, they missed their photo op. And a lot of them were like the big Lord of the Rings ones, which cost a couple $100. I will tell you the 8-person one, Alicia, Drew, and Sam, because you get 4 people in your professional photo. The one they split together, that was $500. I mean, it's for 8 people, so it makes sense, and it's a big franchise. But to miss that, and they're pretty strict on their no refund policy unless a guest cancels, and that wasn't the case. And I get maybe you were low on manpower. I do get that. You weren't prepared. And then that's not me being mean. That's them admitting it, because I don't think they were. The Friday numbers alone was over 6,000, which shocked them. They said that was the highest. They've already sold out of VIPs. Apparently there's 1,200 VIP tickets. Like that's how much they make. And they've never sold out a silver. Diamond, platinum, whatever it's called, it sells out. And then gold sometimes sells out. But silver usually gets close, but this is the first year it's ever sold out. So they were anticipating big numbers, but not that. And I kept hearing from different people and volunteers, they think the total number on Saturday alone was like 20,000, which is possible. Again, I don't know for sure. Yeah. And I felt bad because Sarah already had her badge. She was VIP. And line cutting is part of our privileges. And I'm not being disrespectful, and because I knew there's lots of VIP, so it might not have made much of a difference. But, she was in the hot sun for a long time, and other people were too, apparently. Some people really weren't feeling well from it. And then to miss your photo ops, it's very disappointing. So you might not have been completely prepared. Obviously, I can make suggestions. I don't run a convention. I don't run a big convention. But, I don't know, maybe on Saturdays, make sure you get as many staff or volunteers as possible. I hate to say it, but limit admission. Possibly if you don't have the manpower, maybe the officers, maybe something happened with that. Maybe that probably is outside your control. But maybe that was part of the issue. The officers were nice. Didn't have any issues with them. In fact, the girl on Sunday remembered me from my backpack. I've only been there a couple of times, but she is my Kingdom Hearts one. I had something else to say, but yeah. So again, I wasn't affected directly, but I affected my friend, and I can imagine how upset and disappointing. I was upset with my issue I had to deal with a celebrity last year over a $50 extra fee I had to pay that I don't think was completely the con's fault, but they also didn't fully take responsibility, which is honestly the reason I didn't do professional photo ops, because I didn't want to risk losing that money. So, and that was over $50. Like, I'm not a petty person, but and I don't mind losing a little bit of money, but I have a limit, but them losing like hundreds of dollars and missing their photo. I know they had 2 rooms for photo ops Friday. By Saturday it went to 3. They've never had 2 rooms to begin with that I know of. Like, unless the rooms were smaller because they were more in the open spaces last year. That's a possibility. But yeah, it expanded to 3 on Saturday, and just people weren't moving to get out. Sarah said she took pictures of that too. And I'm just like, oh my God. It was crazy. So I'm sure that was stressful. I'm sure you're getting lots of negative energy from that. I still had fun, but I can understand why people are upset too. So live and learn, I guess. But I'm thinking part of it, Lord of the Rings is a huge IP on its own. You have 8 guests from there. Okay. You also had 3 of the Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory people. You had some huge wrestlers that I don't know anything about them, but apparently people were super stoked. You had Dragon Ball, which I knew that would be decent, but my God, which I'm gonna talk about that in a minute too. That is a huge anime fandom, and that showed when I was there. That was the one fandom I was kind of indirectly involved in. You have Disney. Gosh, you had a lot. So I feel like, yes, you always have at least a couple of big IPs, but knowing this is your first time that I know of doing a group shot with 8 people from a huge franchise. So yeah, I would have anticipated. I'd rather overstaff than understaff. And hey, getting volunteers, I get it. That's hard. So I'm just kind of lecturing now. But anyway, so unfortunately, those of you who don't go to Fanboy Expo, you're probably going to see a lot of comments about the situation. So I was kind of explaining it from a semi-personal experience with my friend and just what I witnessed. Because we went to the Dragon Ball panel, Sarah and I. It was supposed to be at 12:40. They moved it to 1:40. And this is part of the problem here. They updated on the website, but they didn't tell the volunteers who are watching Chris's table. Because obviously Chris is not going to be in 2 places at once. I know he's Super Saiyan. I'm Super Saiyan. The Prince of all Saiyans is awesome. But he can't be at his table in 2 places. So, and things got pushed back because he didn't come till 11, I'm assuming. Makes sense. Sucks. But some people had like little whiteboard signs, or you could make a paper sign or have a volunteer because he has a big table. And everybody had an assistant or volunteer at their table sit there and, just explain, hey, they moved his panel an hour. So, yeah, because there was a lot of issues with lack of communication. You should you should have a group volunteer chat, like text that. Or, there's head volunteers. I know they were kind of coming around and policing when they needed to. I made sure every volunteer I saw, I talked to them and said, hey, you're awesome. I appreciate you. Because I'm sure that is stressful. I did that the whole convention. I think next year I'm going to bring candy. I'll just buy a big bag of like a whole bunch of candy and give it to the officers and the volunteers. At any convention, but especially there, because man, I can't imagine that. They're doing their best and they're going to get all this flack. And again, I can't blame people for being upset either, though. So it's a hard situation. Let's talk about the good for me. Meeting Chris Sabat was fantastic. I'll talk about that in a minute. trying to think what else happened. The panel was only like 45, 50 minutes. That was awesome. It was mostly Dragon Ball, but the fans were asking great questions. They were very passionate. So props to them. This little boy asked the best question. He was so cute. So cute. Thank God. Dad raised his hand. They were making the MC pass the microphone. And he said, let my son go first. My 10-year-old son. They're like, okay. And he asked, other than you, who's your favorite character, like other than yourself, who do you love most? And just the way he said it, like everyone lost it, especially Sean Schimmel and Chris Savitt. And Sean's like, well, that's a deep philosophical question there, buddy. And Chris goes, I know what you meant, but we're not laughing at you. It's really fun the way you said it. And Sean Schimmel, who plays Goku, he's like, regardless of the answer, it's me. I love me. I don't love anybody else more than me. I'm like, that's a very Goku answer. And then Chris is like, and I play all the other characters. It was adorable. I loved it. And there was this great lady, very sweet. Sarah met her previously on Friday in a line, and she had this laugh. Bless her soul. It was like, okay, imagine like, people who laugh and snort. It was that, a long one with that, combined with the pitch of somebody who's having a good snore from a good sleep. And that was her laugh, and it was really long. And Chris, she was like in the second, third row, like right in front of us. We were in the second, but we're in the third row. And Chris was pointed it out, and he was like, oh my gosh, keep doing that. So they were trying to find ways to make her laugh. She was fun. And then we met, let's see, I met everybody I needed to. I met Minnie and Donald that day. Donald it was only going to be there Saturday, Sunday. And I wore my Disney World dress. Marissa and I got matching ones with the snacks, and everybody loved it. And honestly, I was one of the most colorful things at the whole convention. And compared to cosplayers, I think it's because a lot of people did Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth colors, or earthy tones, which is fine. But I was just like, I am freaking bright compared to these people, which is fine. But yeah, Minnie led my dress, and that doesn't matter. And for Chris, I put on my Fruits Basket shirt that has the whole cast, including Ayami, and we had my Ayami plushie and my Snake plushie. And in the selfie, he's a professional selfie taker because he's probably done it a bajillion times. So yeah, it was a cute picture. So I held Ayami, and he had the snake around his neck and my phone, and he still somehow, and I kind of had his arm around me partway, and he still somehow took the snake, and we took 6 selfies, and the snake was getting closer and closer to inside the camera. He's like, the snake's taking over. Oh my God. He was divine. He was worth the wait for me. Then went to the hotel. Then we got Anaba Japanese food. I had to get my first lift because after Sarah came in, she didn't want to leave till she got her photo ops, and I did not blame her. So I volunteered because I didn't have any photo ops. I was like, and she's the one that's driving with her car, and I'm like, okay, I did Uber first, and it was really expensive. Lyft was still expensive, but not as bad. And I was nervous because it was only 4 miles away, but downtown there's so much traffic and there's so much going on. And I didn't want to walk with a whole bunch of food because it was a whole bunch of food. And so I got a driver, and his name was Derek. And I was like, okay, it's Destiny, because that's my husband's name. And he was very sweet. I explained to him this is my first lift. Well, Marissa and I took a lift at the Disney a couple times, but she ordered it. And I told him, okay, I'm literally just picking up food and coming back. Do I need to try to order you again, or am I going to get stuck with someone else? And he goes, tell you what, I wish there was an option for like a roundabout way. He goes, just give me a tip and whatever you want, and I will take you back, because I'm not going to leave you here stranded. And I did. I gave him a good tip, and it was still cheaper than Uber. And he was awesome. And he's just retired from the military. He was stationed in Germany for a long time. He's telling me about Europe. He had this beautiful energy. He had an accent. I'm not sure exactly where he was from, but again, just Tennessee is such great energy. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't get over it. So, which is fantastic. And then they came over and I ordered a whole bunch of stuff because I was starving, and what I actually ended up eating everything on accident. And here's why I say accident. There was free bags there and the lady was super sweet. And if they weren't really busy, she came over and I said, are these free mine? Because I had a big order. And she said, yes, ma'am. And a guy comes over that works there and says, no, just these two. And she's like, well, okay, I'll let you guys check. So I said, can we go over my ticket? He goes, no, I know it's just these two. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I took those two and two of my items were missing. So I did eat all my food, technically, although two of them were there. And I called the lady and she's like, I'm so sorry. I had a bad feeling about that. I should have just stayed for a minute and checked for you. And she talked to her manager and her manager, because I ordered on my card, and her manager said that I have to check my card later. Because I'm going to need a couple of days. I should be reimbursed for those two items that were not in there. And I was disappointed because one was croquettes, and I really wanted potato croquettes. But their chicken skewers are amazing. I'm not a big chicken fan. Well, I like chicken, but those are amazing. And then I had sushi, some California roll, and then I had the katsu chicken, which was good as well. And takoyaki was also good. So I got one mealish thing and then appetizers. And I drank water. So yeah, we did that. And then we did, that was like we were going to do the chicken place. So since we ate like so late, we weren't really hungry. I did get Dunkin' Donuts, like at almost 10 o'clock at night. Cause I need tea or caffeine or something. Cause I haven't had anything. And they're like, okay. And that was the only place open. And then our Dasher was real sweet. And she's like, cause I was going to try like I've never had Dunkin' before. Never had Dunkin'. And I got a green tea just to try it. And I could save it for later. And I got like a frozen caramel coffee. And she's like, yeah, their coffee machine's down. And they're not going to try to fix it with 20 minutes until close. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay. Wasn't mad at her. And I should be getting a refund from that too, according to DoorDash. Because I had to go for the app to do that. Just like, gosh darn it. I can't win today. Alicia's stuff was there. She got like a breakfast sandwich. The green tea was actually really good. So I don't know if I like theirs or Starbucks better, but less than I now know I can get it. So there's that. Okay, so the big thing that happened Saturday. So Chris Abbott was already late. There's lots of people there waiting, but he did his best. He's a trooper. Things happen. And then his panel got moved. Well, Sam was there for like longer than me, about 2 hours, and she almost got there, and then he had to leave. And she just wanted him to sign our club banner. And I should have thought to grab it. We even talked about it, and because I was VIP, and I didn't. And I apologized, but I couldn't go back up there. And she's like, "No, it's okay." So she goes, "I'll come back later." I said, "Okay." So because she had a photo out like at 12:30 or 1. She came back, waited for a while, or she was gonna wait for a while. Chris was gone. First volunteer turned her away, said, can't have people waiting, which was weird because Sean Schimmel, when I met him, there's people camping out there for like 3 hours until we came, and like 2:45. And I just went straight up to go to ask a question. I was going to leave Friday, and I did. I was like, man, you guys are troopers. They were just, they're like, yeah. Hey, Goku. Gotta meet Goku, right? So I thought that was weird. And Sam texted me that. She goes, they turned me away. I was like, that's weird. I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell you. And then she came back in line. Second volunteer, like she saw people lined up, and she's like, what the heck? So she asked the second volunteer, told her what the first volunteer told her. She goes, oh my gosh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'll put you in the VIP line. So she got in the VIP. And she's like, yeah, they said Chris is going to be here too. And I was like, it's 1:40 and I'm sitting in his panel right now. So I took a picture of him talking. And I said, panel should be done by 2:40, 2:45 at the latest. And she goes, oh, I didn't realize it was changed the time. And she goes, they just updated on the website. Sarah found it. So they didn't tell the volunteers either, because the volunteers had no idea about that. So Sam's like, okay, well, I'll leave. And, I was trying to leave and come back. And the first volunteer was trying to get everybody to leave out of the line again. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys. Again, communication. Have a thread. Tell your volunteers, listen. A lot of works have these. Listen, look at your threads as often as possible. You hear a ping, please check it. Oh my gosh. So I'm just like, okay. I don't know where his assistant was, I guess. So he brought his own personal assistant. She was very sweet. She might have been doing stuff for him or something, which is fine. But, they need to be told things too. So that's true if they bring their own personal assistants. So then, I don't remember exactly when this happened. I think it was 3:30-ish. It was before 4. We were eating lunch. Sam's like, okay, so I was in line for Chris still. I'm like, bless her heart. And there was a fight in the line. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, people just started punching. Like somebody accidentally bumped into this lady. I think it was an accident, and she got mad and she just started like tackling him and punching him in the face. And someone else got hit, and their root beer drink, because there's a vendor for that, went flying. Sam got drenched in root beer. And then more people joined, and people are just beating each other. And volunteers are running and trying to they couldn't get up to them, but they were trying to be like, yelling like, hey, if you don't stop, we're getting on handcuffs. And I don't know what happened. I'm hoping they got at least kicked out of the convention. I hate to say that. I know you're stressed, but there's no sense for violence, like ever. I've seen personally 3 people kicked out of conventions, and I've seen in the distance 2 fights, because my friend Lonnie, who's an officer who does cosplay for Heroes for Kids, he's had to help deal with escorting people out and chasing people who've hit people at conventions in cosplay. I've seen it. So I can't imagine Sam, this was her first fanboy. I'm just like, I'm sorry, Sam, it's not normally like this. But she said, the energy, it was just getting so tense because people have been waiting for Chris all day. And that broke my heart. That's going to give Chris a bad implication of this convention and these people. Or it could give people a bad implication on Chris Abbott. And he's awesome. So that was hard too for me to deal with. But I heard later he actually, when all the vendors left, he refused to leave until everybody got their autograph. He was there till almost like 9 o'clock. So props to you, Chris, honestly. Thank you for trying to make the best of a situation. He wasn't there in line, though. He wasn't at his table, Sam said, when the fight broke out, at least. Because honestly, if I saw that, even though obviously I'd probably be shaken up and be like, I need a minute. Like, I love you all. I promise I will be back, but I need a minute. So that would stress me out. And then we did the VIP party. I went like an hour later. Alicia went like maybe half an hour after it started, because we went to the used bookstore. It took a little bit longer than we thought with the rain, and we just had such a good time there at McKay's. But man, the band was good. People were having fun, but a lot of people are also just kind of sitting around. They did it like in the main lobby of the second floor, which was kind of an interesting spot to me. It was beach themed, and they had prizes, but they weren't going to announce the Disney prize till 10 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, I filled in my ticket, but I can't stay that late. I'm tired. And I had Laura Olympus to read the mid-season. Now I got to wait 4 months for the next one. But Rachel, dear writer of Laura Olympus, love you. I hope your health is getting better, and please take care of yourself. We love you. But yeah, so I stayed for like 15 minutes. I took some selfies. I got my lei as my prize for coming in admissions. I'm like, okay, that's kind of dumb. But Alicia said they put out lots of snacks, and people like just inhaled those. They were just grabbing multiple things. And I'm like, okay, no. I'm like, always overbuy snacks. And then that's definitely something you need like a ticket for. So you give your ticket, hey, and you can go get like 1 cupcake or 1 brownie, and then put a sticker on you. And hopefully people are honest and keep the sticker on, and you don't get any more. And then I thought about just getting a drink, but the drink line was long, and usually they had like free soda or tea in the past, but just they had bottles, and they were like almost $6. And I'm like, forget that. Good idea. I love the energy. There were some people dancing, have a good time. The first songs I heard were Elvis songs, so totally love that. So Tennessee. And I love Elvis. But again, I don't know. They were anticipating, and it wasn't overly busy though for the VIP by the time I got there. But still, you can always order snacks, and then even if you don't have to be homemade, they could just be nice prepackaged. I do the homemade first, and then you can have prepackaged for the late people, and then prepackaged you could give them out to your volunteers on Sunday, or at the end of the night, the people who stay the whole time, or heck, the guest. I mean, I'd rather overpay on snacks. You don't want hangry people on top of everything else. That's just my suggestion. I'm a kindergarten teacher, so. And then Sunday we walked around for an hour for the vendor room real quick. Like I said, still didn't get to see everything. Kind of bummed about that. And then we were gonna go to Myrtle's Chicken for lunch, and then be our big lunch for the day. And then we just snack all the way home. And then poor Sam, bless her heart. Her car broke down on the side of the highway. An officer helped her get it at least off, to a little ramp or something. And we went and grabbed them. We grabbed Drew at least. We were able to fit her in the car because we had a lot of stuff. Couldn't fit more than one person. And then the tow truck fit Sam and her grandma. And they had a long ride and the expense from that. So I feel so bad for Sam and Drew and her grandma. That's scary. So I'm glad they're safe though. And then we had Cracker Barrel in Tennessee because we were starving. I had to go to the bathroom after all that. So that was stressful coming home from everybody because it was already a stressful trip coming back. We were all tired. So yeah, this trip was interesting. I will say that. I will leave it at interesting. But it's okay. I had a good time. I got to meet my friends and I got to meet some great people, which this video is super long. I didn't mean for that to happen. So I think I'm going to pause for just a minute and then I'll just show off my autographs real quick. Sound good? Okay. All right. You guys are amazing. I am fans of you. All right. See you in a minute. And